All right, so welcome to this deep dive, and today we're going exploring the website for this organization called TATANKA.
TATANKA.
Yeah, and they're all about like music with a mission.
Oh,
So
okay.
they blend art with social causes, promoting diversity and sustainability.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, really striving for a better future.
Mm-hmm.
And get this,
Okay.
they even use AI to help create some of their music.
Really?
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, that's fascinating. Especially, AI in music is still pretty new territory.
Yeah, exactly. Like, how are they using it? What's it doing? So we're going to focus on two main things from their site.
Okay.
First, there's this newly released AI-generated album
Mm-hmm.
called Taurus, The Divine Bull. The
Okay.
title alone had me, like,
Yeah.
I was interested.
I could see why.
It blends astrological themes with indigenous culture,
Interesting.
which I was like, that's kind of an unusual combination.
Yeah, for sure.
And then there's a personal story about someone whose life was completely changed after attending one of TATANKA's concerts.
Oh, wow. So like a transformative experience.
Yeah, so it sounds like we'll be uncovering some interesting connections between the zodiac, buffalo symbolism, and the power of music.
For sure.
So to kick things off, the website emphasizes this idea of orchestra Americana,
Oh,
of TATANKA's own unique orchestra.
interesting. I wonder what they mean by that term.
What do you make of that?
Orchestra Americana.
Well, I guess it kind of suggests a fusion, you know? Like a deliberate fusion of musical styles and
Yeah.
cultural influences.
So not just your
I don't think so.
typical symphony setup.
Right. Instead of like the traditional symphony, it seems like they're maybe incorporating a wider range of instruments and voices,
I see.
creating a soundscape that reflects the diversity of, American heritage, musical heritage.
So not just about the typical orchestral instruments.
It seems that way.
Yeah.
I mean, Americana often encompasses folk, blues, jazz,
Right.
even indigenous music traditions.
Okay.
I think the name itself speaks to a celebration of diverse voices coming together. I see a real melting pot of
Wow.
music. And that idea of blending and fusion seems to carry over to their album Taurus, The Divine Bull,
Right.
which intriguingly combines astrological themes with indigenous culture.
Mm-hmm.
The album has 12 tracks, each representing a facet of the Taurus zodiac sign.
Oh, wow.
But it's not just like a straightforward interpretation
Oh,
of astrological traits, is it?
No, it seems like they've woven in symbolism from the buffalo,
Okay.
which is central to TATANKA's identity.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, their name actually means buffalo in Lakota.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and the album description uses these terms like slow thunder and deep roots
Interesting.
to describe the musical motifs.
Okay.
These phrases evoke this sense of grounded strength and resilience, qualities that are associated with Taurus and the buffalo.
Yeah, it's interesting how they've chosen Taurus specifically.
Yeah,
I wonder if there's a connection between the organization's mission and the characteristics of this sign.
that's worth considering because, I mean, Taurus is an earth sign,
Uh-huh.
and often it's associated with stability, sustainability,
Right.
and a deep connection to nature.
Yeah, and that aligns really well with what they're doing.
It does. Those themes align with TATANKA's focus
Mhm.
on environmentalism and, social responsibility.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Like they're using the symbolism of Taurus to kind of reinforce
Exactly.
their core value.
It's a subtle but powerful way to kind of connect their artistic vision with their broader mission.
Yeah.
I like it.
Now, let's dive into some of the specific tracks.
Okay.
Fixed Earth, for instance, feels very Taurus.
Mhm.
Then there's Tatanka Moon,
Okay.
which seems to be about the connection between the buffalo lunar cycles and tradition.
Oh, wow.
And Venus in the Soil immediately made me think about love and creation.
And that's a clever link.
Yeah.
Given that Taurus is ruled by Venus, the planet associated with beauty, love, and art,
Right.
it seems like each track is thoughtfully designed to explore different dimensions of Taurus symbolism, both through the lyrics and musical composition.
It's fascinating how they're weaving together these different threads of meaning.
Yeah.
And speaking of connecting threads,
Okay.
the website also features a powerful personal story about someone named 𝗓𝗕, who attended one of TATANKA's concerts and was deeply moved by the experience.
That's great.
Yeah.
So 𝗓𝗕 identifies as non-binary and comes from an Afghan refugee family.
Okay.
It sounds like the experience of encountering the Orchestra Americana, this fusion of diverse musical traditions, had a profound impact on them.
Absolutely. They described feeling a sense of belonging they hadn't really experienced before. Like they saw themselves reflected in the diversity of the music and the performers.
Oh, it's beautiful. That speaks volumes about the potential of art to create a sense of inclusion and representation, especially for individuals from marginalized communities.
𝗧𗔔 even mentions being inspired to start composing their own music after the concert.
Wow.
Blending Afghan folk melodies with orchestral elements.
No way.
They even called the piece Horns of Hope as a tribute to TATANKA.
Wow, that's incredible. Not just feeling moved by the music, but actually being moved to create,
Yeah.
It shows how powerful an impact a single concert experience can have.
It really does.
Yeah.
And there's one more layer to kind of unravel here.
Okay.
The website also features quotes from Sitting Bull,
Oh, wow.
the Lakota Sioux chief,
Mm-hmm.
which adds another dimension to their message.
Okay.
One quote in particular caught my eye.
Okay.
It says, "It is through this mysterious power that we too have our being, and we therefore yield to our neighbors, even to our animal neighbors, the same right as ourselves to inhabit this vast land."
Wow, that's powerful. That's a powerful statement about the interconnectedness of all living beings, a concept often central to indigenous worldviews. And it seems to tie directly into the album's themes of respecting the earth and understanding our place within the natural world.
Yeah, it really does bring another dimension
Definitely.
to their mission.
It suggests that TATANKA's vision goes beyond simply creating music. They seem to be striving for a deeper understanding of our relationship with the planet and each other. And they're using music as a tool to promote that vision.
It's really cool how they've brought all these different things together.
I agree. It's fascinating. I'm really intrigued to hear more about the album itself, like the actual music.
Yeah.
One thing that struck me about the album description was its emphasis on slowness.
Oh, yeah.
It talks about how Taurus is a fixed earth sign, known for being deliberate and unwavering.
Yes, I noticed that too. Like they're suggesting that the music itself has a slow, deliberate pace.
Right, reflecting that Taurus energy.
Yeah.
And the website even says that this slowness is intentional,
Okay.
like a deliberate artistic choice.
Interesting.
It's not about flashy virtuosity or speed,
Right.
but about creating a mood, a feeling of depth and presence.
It reminds me of how the buffalo moves across the plains.
Oh, yeah.
Steady, grounded, unstoppable.
That's a beautiful analogy.
Yeah.
It makes me think about how much of our modern world is obsessed with speed
Right.
and instant gratification.
Totally.
Maybe there's something to be learned from slowing down, from embracing the process,
Yeah.
from being present in the moment.
I think that's a really powerful insight.
Yeah.
And looking at the track list, you can already sense this intentionality.
Okay.
There's a track called The Last Buffalo, which sounds like it's about survival and cultural reclamation, and then Echoes of the Sacred Herd.
Oh, wow.
Which is described as like a meditative instrumental piece.
It's almost like they're creating a sonic journey, guiding the listener through different emotional landscapes.
Yeah.
And this is where the AI element becomes really interesting.
Right, because we often think of AI as being cold and calculated.
Exactly.
But here it's being used to create something that feels deeply human.
Yeah.
Deeply emotional.
It's almost paradoxical, isn't it?
Yeah.
This technology that we perceive as devoid of feeling is actually being used to create art that connects with us on such a profound level.
And there's another track called Slow Thunder.
Okay.
Which I find so evocative.
It's a great title.
Yeah.
It captures that Taurus quality of being quiet but powerful, like a storm gathering force beneath the surface.
So we've got this album rooted in astrology and indigenous culture.
Right.
But it seems like it also has a universal appeal.
I think so.
Doesn't it?
Yeah. Ultimately, the album seems to be exploring themes that we all experience.
Right.
Love, loss, connection, the search for meaning.
It's like they've managed to create something that speaks to both the head and the heart.
It certainly is.
Which is a difficult balance to strike.
It is. And I think it's a testament to the power of art to transcend cultural boundaries and connect us on a deeper level.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And 𝗧𗔔's story really embodies that idea.
Right.
They talked about how the music helped them see their own identity in a new light. Not as a collection of separate parts, but as a whole.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
Yeah.
It's like the music gave them permission to embrace all of who they are and to see the beauty in that complexity.
And isn't that what we're all searching for in some way?
I think so.
To feel seen, to feel understood, to feel like we belong.
And maybe, just maybe, music can help us get there.
I love that thought.
Yeah.
It makes you realize the potential for music to bridge divides and create understanding.
Absolutely, and it goes back to that Sitting Bull quote.
Yes.
About recognizing the interconnectedness of all beings.
Right. If we can see ourselves reflected in the music, if we can feel that shared humanity, perhaps we can begin to see each other differently as well.
And if we can start to see each other differently, maybe we can start to build a better world.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about the themes and symbolism of the album.
Right.
But what about the actual music itself? What
Yeah.
kind of sounds can we expect?
Well, from what I've gathered, they seem to be aiming for a lush, ethereal soundscape with warm acoustic textures, steady percussion, and those deep grounding bass lines we discussed earlier.
Yes. And there's also a sense of space, of allowing the music to breathe. It's not about cramming in a million notes, but about creating a sonic landscape that you can get lost in.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I imagine the recurring motifs that they mentioned, like chants or spoken word elements, add another layer of depth and texture.
I'm curious to hear how they use horns in the album.
Oh, yeah.
Considering the horn imagery is so central to both Taurus and the buffalo.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
The horns offer a unique opportunity to create something truly special.
Uh-huh.
I wouldn't be surprised if they drew inspiration from traditional indigenous music for the horn parts as well.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
It's like they're blending ancient wisdom with modern technology.
Yeah.
All coming together to create something new and beautiful.
Speaking of new and beautiful, let's circle back to 𝗧𗔔's story.
Okay.
They were so inspired by the concert that they started composing their own music, blending Afghan folk music with orchestral elements.
Yeah.
It's like they took the inspiration they received and transformed it into something entirely their own.
That's so inspiring.
Yeah.
And that title, Horns of Hope. It's such a powerful statement.
I love that.
It's like a declaration of resilience, a belief that even in the face of adversity, there's always hope.
It really is.
Right.
And it makes you wonder, what other horns of hope are out there waiting to be heard?
Yeah.
What other stories, what other voices are longing for the right platform to share their music, their art, their message with the world?
That's a beautiful thought.
Yeah.
It's like a call to action, to seek out those voices, to amplify them, to create space for them to be heard.
And in a world that often feels increasingly divided, maybe that's the most important mission of all.
You know, this deep dive's got me thinking about music in a whole new way.
Oh, yeah.
It's clearly so much more than just entertainment.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. Music is such a powerful form of communication.
Yeah.
Like a way to express emotions and ideas that might be difficult to articulate with just words alone. It taps into something deeper.
Right.
Something universal.
Yeah, and when you combine that expressive power with a mission, you know, like a real purpose, it can become a force for real change.
Definitely. TATANKA is a prime example of that.
Right.
They're not just making music for the sake of it.
Yeah.
They're using it to promote diversity, to connect with and honor indigenous culture, advocate for sustainability.
Yeah, it's really impressive.
It is.
They're demonstrating that music can be a tool for good, right?
Exactly. And they're backing it up with their actions, their projects, their entire philosophy.
And the fact that they're incorporating AI as this whole other layer of like innovation.
It's fascinating. It's like they're pushing the boundaries of what's possible, both creatively and in terms of their mission.
Yeah, it's definitely not your typical orchestra or music project.
There's a real sense of boldness, experimentation, like a desire to break down barriers and challenge conventions.
You know, I'll admit, when I first saw the title, Taurus, the Divine Bull, it was like, oh, this is going to be some like really esoteric, new age kind of album.
I get it. I could see how you might get that impression from the title alone.
Yeah.
But as we've discovered, it's actually much more grounded than that.
Right.
It's about those core Taurus qualities.
Right.
Strength, resilience, a deep connection to the earth.
And it's about using music as a vehicle to tell stories.
Exactly.
To explore those universal themes that are relevant to all of us, regardless of whether we're into astrology or not.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about finding those universal truths that resonate with everyone, whether it's the longing for connection, the importance of honoring tradition, or the urgent need to protect our planet.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener?
Why should you care about TATANKA and their approach to music?
Well, I think it's an invitation to reconsider the role of music in our own lives.
Right.
It's a reminder that music can be so much more than just background noise, you know?
Yeah.
It can be a source of inspiration, a catalyst for change,
Mm.
a way to connect with something larger than ourselves.
And it's a reminder that even small actions,
Yeah.
like being inspired by music, can make a difference.
Definitely.
Look at 𝗓𝗕.
Exactly.
They were so inspired by TATANKA's performance that they were moved to create.
Yeah, it's a ripple effect.
Right.
One person's passion can spark another person's creativity,
Mm.
and so on and so on. It's impossible to know where that ripple might lead.
Yeah, maybe it inspires more people to use their art to make a positive impact.
Right.
Maybe it leads to a greater appreciation for diversity and inclusion.
Yeah, maybe a deeper connection with nature.
Or maybe it simply leads to a really enriching and enjoyable listening experience. I think at the end of the day, TATANKA is creating music that is beautiful, thought-provoking, and emotionally resonant.
Mm-hmm.
And that in itself is something to celebrate.
Absolutely. So if you're looking for music that nourishes your soul and engages your mind,
Yes.
I highly encourage you to check out TATANKA
Yeah.
and give their music a listen. You might be surprised by what you discover.
And as you listen, ask yourself, what connections do you hear? What stories resonate with you? And how might music inspire you to make a positive difference in the world?
Such a great thought to leave us with.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the world of TATANKA.
It was a pleasure.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep listening.